Hi everyone. Sorry I couldn't be here today, but this is your last review for the common assessment that you will be taking following class time. So let's start off with number 3 on the very first page. We are going to be jumping around, so let's go ahead and look at these. So it says point P has coordinates of -8, 5. Point Q is at 4, -1. What point is located 1/4 of the distance? So remember, we said anytime we see that fraction, I do want to go ahead and box it. That is my F. And then I will go ahead and start my formula. And I will give you guys this formula, unless your classmates are being rowdy. So it says xp is x1 plus our fraction. Remember, that always goes in parentheses. So I'm going to start with my f's. I'm going to label this x1, y1, and x2, y2. So I'm going to start off with my x1. That's going to be -8 plus my fraction, which is 1/4. My x2 is a 4 minus my x1, which is a -8. Of course, I see a minus and negative right here. That means that I'm going to have to change this into a plus sign on my next line. I am working right to left, so I'm always going to do this set of parentheses first. So that ends up being -8, 1/4, and parentheses. 4 plus 8, that is a +12. And if I'm going too fast with these, just pause it, catch up, and then restart the video whenever you have are done copying these. This second set of parentheses goes next. -8 stays, plus 1/4 times 12, that ends up being a 3. That doesn't look like a 3. Here we go. -8 plus 3, that is a -5. So we have the -5 answer for our x. So I can automatically eliminate these two. So in order to find my y, I'm going to have to do the exact same thing. So I have y1 plus my fraction, y2 minus y1. I want you to pause this video right now and work out your y. When you are done, go check it with either Mr. Wrench or the sub. And then we will be moving on. We are actually moving on to number 5. That's on the column over. It says, what is the intersection of line QR? So I see my line QR. That is 2 points on my line. Oops, that is not what I meant to do. Over here. Oh, you guys get the point. And the plane. Remember, I showed you guys this and I talked about it yesterday. This is whenever I put my pencil on my paper, and when I stabbed it through, it made a hole, and a lot of you guys thought that was really funny. That hole is a point, and in this case, it's going to be point S. So remember, pencil, paper, it is a point. We are going to be flipping over to the back. This is number 7, and it says trapezoid JKLM is shown below. What is the length of KM? So I'm going to look at KM here. That's this line right here. And it gives us 2 points. I'm going to say this is my x1, y1, and my x2, and my y2. So when it says find the length, we are talking distance formula. And our distance formula is d equals really long square root x2 minus x1, square that, plus y2 minus y1, square that. Then we gotta replace our numbers. This becomes 5 minus 2 squared plus 1 minus 3 squared. We do everything inside the parentheses first. 5 minus 2, that is 3 squared, plus -1 minus 3, that is -2 squared. We're not doing these negatives on the calculator. I've said it a billion times, but you guys refuse to listen. -2 times -2, that's going to be a +4. So our answer is the square root of 13. Moving over to the next column, we are looking at the midpoint of line RP. So RP is this line right here. So I'm going to label my points x1, y1, and x2, y2. So because I'm talking about my midpoint, I'm going to use my midpoint formula. So my midpoint, remember we add up our x's, divide them by 2, add up our y's, divide them by 2. Easiest one on the whole test. So I'm going to start off with my x. So for my coordinate of x, I am going to look for my x1, which is 5, plus my x2, which is 1. I'm going to divide that by 2. 5 plus 1, that's 6. Divide that by 2, that is 3. So my x coordinate for my midpoint is going to be 3. I want you guys to do the same thing for the y coordinate. And do it on your own, pause it, go get your answer checked, and we can move on. Moving on to the next page. Actually, this is number 12, and we talked a little bit about this during class, during our first review. It says, where do plane BLD? So BLD, I'm going to start off by highlighting that one in particular. And then ABL. ABL is right here, so I know I'm talking about this back plane right here. So it's where do those two intersect? And we talked about this. I've said this quite a few times. When you're talking plane and plane intersect, I know it's going to be at a line. So here, the only line that is shared by these two planes where they are touching is here at line BL. So I want you guys to pause this video and do B. When you come back, let's resume this video and continue. So hopefully B was pretty easy for you to do. Hopefully you got that check and tally marked. But for E, it says name 4 points that are coplanar. So here, I'm going to highlight one of my planes. And I can choose whichever one that has 4 points. So I chose this one because it looks like it has a lot of points. Coplanar, that does mean same plane. And some of you guys got that wrong on your test. I have no idea how. Same plane, coplane. So if I chose this plane, all I got to do is choose 4 points. I'm going to say point A, point K, point F, and point D. So all of these points are coplanar because they are on the same plane, as you can see here. Let's move on. Let's flip the page over. Number 14 says, find the coordinates of J if K is at 2, -1, is the midpoint of JL, and L has the coordinates of -1, 0. So I'm going to do my line, and you should too. It says midpoint of JL, so I know this is J, I know this is L, and it does say K is the midpoint. So whenever you say blank is the midpoint, go ahead and label that right away. I know these coordinates already. I have 2, -1, and L has the coordinates of -1, 0. That means I'm missing an endpoint. I don't know what my x1, y1 is. But I do know this is my x2, y2, and that this is my x and my y. So because we are talking midpoint, we are using that formula, but we are using it another way. So we are missing our x1 and our y1. And I've told you guys that before, when I'm missing my x1 and my y1, I start off in the middle. So my MP, these are these points right here. We always start off with those. So I'm going to say 2. If I'm working with my x's, I'm going to say 2, because that is my x, equal to my x1, which is here, that is a -1, plus my x2, just kidding, I messed up. Let's start that again. Good thing you can pause this video and erase. My x1, I don't know what that is, plus my x2 is a -1. Then I'm going to divide all of that by 2. So here I'm going to multiply both sides by 2. Remember, just 2 steps. That cancels. 2 times 2 is 4. We are left with x1 plus a -1. So this tripped you guys up during your last test and during your classwork. Because I see a plus -1, some of you subtracted -1 from both sides. We're not doing that. because I see a -1, if that's a minus, I'm going to say +1 here, +1 there. So the coordinate for my x1 is 5, so here. Now I have to find my y1. Remember, start in the middle. So you're going to start off with your y-coordinate of your midpoint. So go ahead and do that one on your own, and then go get it checked. This is the segment addition postulate, and this is on your very last page, I think. So we are using the same diagram for numbers 20 and 21. So remember, we said that this segment, DE and EF, make up the entirety of DF. So I know that DE plus EF is equal to all of DF. Always write your relationship. It is going to help a little bit more. So here, I'm going to say DE is 3x minus 1 plus EF, which is 13, equal to DF, which is 6x. Remember, first step is move smaller x. So here I'm going to subtract 3x from both sides. That's going to cancel. Then I'm going to say -1 plus 13 is equal to 3x. 6 minus 3, that's 3. I'm going to combine my like terms. So everything that looks alike is going to get combined. So -1 plus 13, that's just 13 minus 1, which is 12, equal to 3x. And then my last step is to solve for x. If I'm multiplying 3 times x here, I'm going to divide by 3 on both sides. X divided by, or 12 divided by 3 is going to give us a 4. However, we want to find DF. So I'm going to go to DF, and it equals 6x. And wherever I see an x, I am going to substitute it with the x that I know that it is now. So all I have to do is say 6 times 4, and we will have 24 as our answer. I want you guys to try 21 on your own. It's going to look exactly like number 20. So you're going to have D, midpoint E, and F. And then, of course, D, F. And you only want to find DE. So find your X, plug it back in where you see DE. All right, that's all I have for you. I hope you guys paid attention, and I will see you back next class time.